Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for coming to CIOE 97.5, the station today here in beautiful Lower Sackville. We're here tonight because of the great John Kennedy, or as he calls himself, JohnKennedyCartoons.com. I suggest you go on the website, and you're more than welcome to buy more than one item, just to let you know. My name is Peter Soffer. I host a show on in the station called The Hour of Heroes, so I have the opportunity to interview wonderful men and women who wear the uniform of our municipality, our province, and our country, fellow organizations, volunteers, and people who do amazing work in their society every day of their lives. So it's a real privilege to be able to do that. I come on every Tuesday at 12 o'clock to 1, rebroadcast Wednesday, 7 to 8. So we're here tonight to celebrate John Kennedy and his show called Rock Art. And I just wanted to, a couple of years ago around this time, John and Jim got together, and John wanted to do something for the community. And he had a display up here. I think 20-something of these beautiful works of art were up there, and they sold literally like that. And every single penny of that money, all $5,000, went to Hope Cottage for people who were homeless. And, the discussion of homelessness is now very up to date in our news channel and everything else, especially in the city of Halifax. And you need to be able to walk in the shoes of homeless people to fully understand what they're going through. Well, John at one time in his life experienced that, so he knows exactly what these men and women and their families are going through. The man originally is from Ireland, and ironically, he was an editorial cartoonist. And he used to make fun of politicians. If he got a Dutch politician to come up here and introduce him today. How ironic is that? So he's just a wonderful, wonderful man. And he's married to a beautiful woman and 3 lovely children. And they came here in 2009 from Ireland and to do what most immigrant families have done, to get a better life for their children and for themselves. And all 3 of their kids, if you've met them, they are absolutely wonderful. They're just beautiful people, and they've got great careers and wonderful lives in front of them. And that's because of the decision that John and his wife made to come to Canada. And it's Ireland's loss, but it's Nova Scotia and Canada's being they're good. So, John, welcome to Canada. I want to make sure I got this right, so he wrote this down for me, so I wouldn't make mistakes. But he was an editorial cartoonist for many, many various papers and publications. But one very important one, sort of like the New York Times of Britain, was the editorial cartoonist for The Independent in London, England. That means you have to really be good to get in this kind of paper, and he was there. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. And just recently, he has been, all his political cartoons that he did at that time have now been in the Linen Hall Library in Belfast, Northern Ireland. For those who don't know, Linen Hall is a very, very old establishment, and to have your stuff in there for future people to study for many, many years to come, and to be there with all those wonderful records of various things that happen in the lives of Ireland and Irish people is really something amazing. So, John, congratulations to you on that. And I'm going to read out a few things that some people have said. Now, mind you, they're all Irish-based, so a little biased here, but here's what they said. One of Ireland's most exciting cartoonists, that's the Irish News in Belfast, Northern Ireland. If a picture truly paints 1,000 words, then Kennedy has enough words to fill a library. And that is the Irish author Sam Miller and newsletter from Belfast, Northern Ireland. Another one says, John's illustrations are guaranteed to raise a smile with every masterly stroke of his pen. And that was a Derry journal in Derry, Northern Ireland. And this one's really good. Humor and political incisiveness blended to perfection. And that's the Irish Herald in San Francisco in the United States. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce you to my friend and a truly great guy, Mr. John Kennedy. John? Sorry. I blew it. Before that, This station can't run without a tremendous benefactor and someone who's the captain of our ship. As you know, CIOE is all done by volunteers, and it's the vision of Owen Davis, a person who's no longer with us, and him and Jim Davis and others got together to create this station. I'd like to introduce you to sort of the grandfather and great uncle and wonderful person of our wonderful radio station, our main man and our president, Mr. Jim Robson. Jim, come on. You can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Peter, I think. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to CIOE 97.5 FM and to Gallery 97. I would be remiss if I didn't brag a little bit in saying that CIOE is the only radio station in Canada that has a built-in concert hall and an art gallery. So we're a different breed of cat in many respects, not the least of which is that we're also a concert hall and an art gallery. And of course, before COVID struck, we had live concerts here on the last Saturday of each month, and we'll be starting those concert series up again. CIOE is the champion of East Coast music. We do over 100 hours a week of East Coast music across every genre, from classical to traditional country at the other end of the musical spectrum. You could take every other radio station in the 4 Atlantic provinces, and collectively they wouldn't do 100 hours of East Coast music in 6 months. We do it every week. We also stream live on the internet, which means that those 100 hours a week of East Coast music, exposure of our East Coast artists, is around the world. And that is already manifesting itself in terms of concert promoters, club owners, from one end of Europe to another, contacting our people and hiring them to come to Europe and to play their clubs, to play their concerts, and so on. We have a high-end restaurant in Johannesburg, South Africa. Their nightly entertainment is our 9 to 12 noon East Coast kitchen party that's hosted every day, Monday to Friday, by L. Hollingsworth. So that's just a tiny sample of the impact that this little station in Lower Sackville is having across the globe. Now, we do more than just music. We also deal in what I call intelligent talk. I was a journalist myself. The spoken word has always been sacred to me. Number one priority on the spoken word spectrum is mental health. And as you heard Peter earlier, Peter's show, The Hour of Heroes, does an incredible job in dealing with some of the most problematic issues, dealing with our military, with our veterans, with our first responders, with our paramedics. So we get fabulous feedback from all over about the quality and the relevance of that kind of programming. We reach out to seniors, we reach out to youth, we reach out to the householders, we reach out to the multicultural community, which is very important to us. We reach out to the African Nova Scotia community, to the indigenous communities. We are the voice of the community, as well as the home and the voice of East Coast music. Now, 2 years ago, I was in my office one day, and our front office manager, Donelda McIsaac, came into the office and she said, "Jim, there's a gentleman out there of the name of John Kennedy was wondering if he could have a meeting with you." I said, "John Kennedy, okay. Does he happen to have a Bostonian accent?" "No." But she said, "I think he's Irish." "Well, does he look presidential?" He said, "Well, no, but he's a handsome gentleman." Well, I said, "Okay, I'll be happy to meet with Mr. Kennedy, have him come in." So John came in, and the two of us hit it off, I think right off the bat. John's raison d'etre in wanting to meet is he wanted to have a one-man show. And I said, "Well, we normally don't have a one-man show. Usually we have a mixed gallery, but tell me why you want a one-man show, John." Well, he said, "I've created 25 pieces of art that are caricatures of some of the world's great musicians and singers." And he said, "What I would hope would happen is if I had a one-man show, and if I could sell even some of the paintings, some of the works of art, that I would donate all of the proceeds to Hope Cottage." And I said, "Well, why Hope Cottage?" And he didn't say anything for several seconds. And then the eyes started to well up a little bit. And he said, "Because once I was homeless." Well, that's all that he had to say. The long and the short of it is that John got his one-man show. We had a reception very similar to this. As a matter of fact, I've talked to some of you tonight who were at that very first exhibition. The 25 pieces of art that he had literally flew off of the wall. We could have sold 125 that night if we'd have had it. John raised $5,000 to Hope Cottage that night. And here we are, 2 years later, and a lot of sweat equity and creativity and countless hours, and voila, this is the result. Now I'll leave it to John to talk about some other ideas that he has, but you ain't seen nothing yet, because he's got a number of other galleries in mind, and one of them that I've been twisting his arm about, and haven't had to twist it very hard, is an East Coast artist gallery, which I think would be spectacular, because we have so many world-class artists deserving of this kind of recognition. Well, I have a number of other things to say about John, but those remarks are contained in a documentary that we'll be showing you very shortly, because this reception is being streamed live across the globe, and a number of John's compatriots in Ireland and Belfast are tuned in and are listening to this presentation tonight. And in that context, I'd like to extend a very warm Nova Scotia welcome to John's friends and followers in Belfast and across Ireland, as I say, who are tuned in to this evening's activities. Thank you, Ireland, for sharing John Kennedy and his amazing talent with all of us in Nova Scotia, in Atlantic Canada, and across the country. Now, before formally introducing the documentary, I'd like to briefly point out that CIOE is a not-for-profit entity that is dependent on various revenue streams to fulfill our mandate, which is to educate, to inform, to motivate, and to entertain. We are dependent on a number of different revenue streams. Now, one of our main fundraising initiatives is our online 50/50 lottery, which is becoming quite popular with various organizations, Hope for Wildlife and firefighters, and there's a number of them out. We've done about 4 of these, and with reasonably good result. So our next online 50/50 lottery is going to begin on October the 25th, and will run through just a few days shy of Christmas. So if you like what you see here tonight and what you hear, then keep us in mind when we formally launch the 50/50 lottery. Well, without further ado, I'm going to have our technical director and vice chairman of CIOE, Russell Gross, who's an amazingly talented man. He's also executive director of the Black Cultural Center in Cherrybrook. And most days we have to cut poor Russell in about 4 pieces to achieve all of his duties and so on. So Russell, are we ready to roll with the documentary? Thank you.
I went to university, the University of Ulster, Belfast, and I joined it in 1986. I done a foundation degree in art and design, and then that was a year course, and when I finished that, I had the choice to stay in Belfast to do a degree or go to the Royal Academy of Art in London. But I decided to stay in Belfast and finish my career there, my degree. And I qualified in 1890, and from then on I went to university, the University of Ulster, Belfast, and I joined it in 1986. I done a foundation degree in art and design, and then that was a year course, and when I finished that, I had the choice of going staying there in Belfast I got my big break with newsprint, and I worked for a newspaper in Dublin called The Star. Is it the Daily Star? And they wanted me there to do a daily cartoon for, I don't know if you remember the 1994 World Cup in the United States, the Soccer World Cup. They wanted me to do a daily cartoon for 2 months. That was really hard work, you know. But it was very, very enjoyable, and this is what I want to do. And after that, my career sort of kicked off a bit. People got to notice my style, my work ethic was, I produced the work right away for them, you know, so they loved it. I got more and more work within the media world. I worked for newspapers throughout Ireland and the United States, and TV media companies, they started to take notice as well. And then in 1998 is when I got into the sort of political cartoon world. I had my first exhibition on the West Belfast Festival, Feel and Fulba. It's an Irish word. It's one of the biggest community festivals in Europe. It's massive. It attracts all types of famous people from around the world. It was a great opportunity for me because I met a lot of people. I made a lot of contacts. I've exhibited there for the following 10 years in a row. And in between that, I made contacts for other festivals. I exhibited in New York twice. And as my name got around more in Europe and Ireland, my work sold out every time. My exhibitions just sold out, which was a blessing. And I can't complain, but it was a great start to my career. And throughout that time, I did political cartoons for various newspapers in the UK and Ireland and Europe. And at one stage, I was working for 3 major newspapers at the one time. And then in 2010, I reached the pinnacle of my bucket list was to work for the London Independent. That's like the Washington Post of North America, and that was quite an achievement for me. I've always been interested in art from no high. I was fascinated. I had family members who lived in the United States. Obviously, Irish, went to Boston or Philadelphia or New York, and they would always send comic books from there. And we would get them maybe once every 3 months. I would get Superman, Batman. I was fascinated by artwork and the way they drew things and are copied and everything else you would do. And I got really into it. And from no high at all, I've always been either drawing or playing soccer. That was my life, and that's all what I really needed. And the passion has always been there. I remember one of the biggest thing back home that I ever won, and it's small to anyone else, but it's a big thing for me. People from the UK and Ireland will know this TV program, a children's program called Blue Peter. And to get a Blue Peter badge was like winning a gold medal in the Olympics, and I actually was one of the first in the North to ever get one. So that was quite a thing for me. And after that, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. Growing up in Northern Ireland, it was very, very hard. It was a very difficult period in everyone's lives. So there was a lot of violence going on. But thank God I never got involved, and I was never really interested in that stuff. So that art was my escape. A lot of my friends never escaped from it. A lot of them died, which is unfortunate. But for me, it was never for me. My world was to draw and make people laugh, and I really enjoyed it. And I just took it from there.
I first met John a number of years ago. I think it was around about maybe 15 years ago. I was a guest of honor in a big festival we have here in Belfast called the West Belfast Festival. I think it's the largest in Europe. But I was a guest of honor, and I was walking through all the different exhibits and those stuff like this, and I came across all these political cartoons, and I was really blown away by what I was looking at. It was the first time I'd seen John's work, and I decided to try and find out where this guy was. And lucky enough for me, he was at the festival also. I found it terrific that someone living in the north of Ireland wasn't afraid to criticise politicians. He was fearless, and I was taken away by it, because before that you have all these political cartoonists just going along with the system and appeasing politicians. And here was this guy all of a sudden questioning them and making fun out of them, caricaturing them. And for me, it was a breath of fresh air, long needed here in the north, which is very heavily censored at the best of times. And here was this guy sort of like thumbing his nose at them, to hell with the censors. He was doing what he thought was right.
John and his family came to meet me a number of years ago when they were made homeless here in the north of Ireland. And from that, they've been such a lovely family. I've never met a family as nice and as genuine in all my life. We just became friends after that. we worked with John to get him rehoused, which he did, and then of course he moved to Canada, and hopefully he's enjoying a great life out there, because him and the wife and family really deserve the best that life has to offer them.
The way I am, I'm a writer, well-known writer. I've been censored most of my life, and so was he, because they try to block him anytime we try to get his stuff shown in the newspapers. I like to think I helped him on his way, but we miss him very much, as I say, and it's brilliant to see how well he's been doing over in Canada. And this exhibition just shows my belief in him at the start when I first met him, and I knew there was big things in store for this guy, and now things are starting to come about for him, and it really, really is brilliant.
We always intended to come to Canada. It took us years to save and get ready. It cost us a fortune, a lot of red tape, and I knew then by doing that I would have to come, when I came to Canada, I would have to restart my career, and that's the hardest part of anything, but that was an opportunity I was willing to take. The whole focus was to give our 3 children a better chance in life. So we did. We arrived here in 2010. We've been here, we became citizens. We're Irish Canadian citizens, which we're very proud of. Our first intention was to go to Toronto, because we come from a city, big city, but my wife was offered a job here in Nova Scotia, and we came for a week and we just fell in love with the place. The place was amazing. The people were awesome. It's just right, this is where we want to be. This is where I want to start and our life, our new life. And we haven't looked back since. It took me a while to get into the art again, because obviously we sold up everything when we came over here. We came over with 7 boxes. We had to start again. We had to buy knives and forks and so on. It's just like getting married and restarting again. My shift from political cartooning to this new form of cartooning, which is the music form, I found that life's too short. Political cartooning, when you're looking at all the miseries in the world, that's what political it sort of it gets you down. And I wanted to get away from that altogether, because, as everyone knows, politics can be very depressing at times, especially when there's war or anything like that. You have to come up with a card, and it affects your mind. So I, from a mental point of view and a well-being point of view, I needed to get away from that. I can do it very well. I love doing it, but at the same time, it's not a good place to be at times, But so what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to uplift my work. I want to see smiles. Political cartooning can be very, very serious, and people get into debates and it's arguments, and oh my God, I don't want nothing more to do with that nonsense. So I want to do something that's happy. And I've always been fascinated by music. Music is my life.
I think his artwork is absolutely amazing. The talent that he has is just brilliant. And they look at all the rock stars and number of people that he does, and yet you can still see who they are in those in his artwork. So he just is a brilliant artist, from what I can see. Here in the north, he had a couple of books, art books released, which was quite popular. One was, I think, Under the Dome, and the other one was Warts and All.
It's great to see how well he's doing, especially over in Canada. We miss him here in Ireland. I wish he was back here, but unfortunately, he's in a good country and he's surrounded by great people over there in Canada. He told me how well people have been looking after him and different things like that, so we're happy for him.
2018, I approached 97.5 Community Radio, Jim Robson, about an exhibition, and my intentions there were to do 25 pieces and pay for it all, and sell all the artwork, and the whole lot would go to Hope Cottage, a soup kitchen right there in the middle of Halifax. And something I always wanted to do, because there was a period in my life where I was homeless, and I had this burning ambition to give back, and this was a prime opportunity, and it went down very, very well. and I'm delighted that I went in and handed a cheque to Hope Cottage that following year, 2019. It was a very, very successful exhibition.
John first came to me 2 years ago, seeking permission to conduct a one-man exhibition showcasing 25 world-class performers. The raison d'etre for the one-man show was to raise funds through the sale of his art in support of Hope Cottage and its homeless clientele. We gave John his one-man show, and in return, every piece of art literally flew off the wall, and John raised thousands of dollars, every penny of which went to Hope Cottage. John Kennedy is a great artist with a very unique talent. But in getting to know John these past 2 years, he's an even better person who uses his art to give back, as John himself was once homeless in his native Ireland.
My next show, my second show here in Canada, I've had actually, this is my 21st exhibition throughout, from both sides of the Atlantic now, so this is awesome. This is my second show in Canada, and within the next couple of days here, we're going to, I'm going to produce and show artwork that's band related, and very famous bands mostly, and I'm calling it rock art because I needed a term to describe what I'm doing, so it's rock art. It has all types of bands, from everybody from Led Zeppelin to the Bee Gees, you know, so it's very colourful. Now that we're coming out of a COVID situation, I'm hoping that everybody comes and sees it, because I promise, I guarantee it'll lift everyone up. Anyone who loves music will come along and they'll see something there and they'll say, oh my God, I remember them. I even have the Monkeys, so if you remember them.
The rock art exhibition is just one of several that John has planned in the months and years ahead, and he has undertaken to launch each new art exhibition at Gallery 97. We are extremely proud of John and his incredible talent. Ireland's loss is Canada and Nova Scotia's gain since John and his family emigrated to our shores. And he has undertaken to launch each new art exhibition at Gallery 97. We are extremely proud of John and his incredible talent. Ireland's loss is Canada and Nova Scotia's gain since John and his family emigrated to our shores. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. John Kennedy. Hey!
After all that, oh my God, what can I say? Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. It's good to see all the familiar faces again. I'm delighted that so many turned up with our COVID, coming to the end of our COVID situation, so I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'll keep this short, so don't worry. I won't have you standing too long. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming, for taking the time out to come here tonight. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much, folks. I'm delighted to see you all. Really am. Old and new. I'd also like to thank my family and friends who stayed up late tonight to watch the show, the launch of the show, and especially my good friend Rory Brennan, who's my best friend, and he stuck by me through thick and thin, so welcome, mate. I would also like to thank my friend Peter Stoffer, awesome, whose Dutch-Canadian charm would set off any show. Awesome, the guy's awesome. Jim Robson, of course, for his eloquent presentation about the tremendous work going on here in 97.5 Community Radio. It's awesome, folks. You should really get to know what's going on in here. It's amazing. And for giving me the opportunity to exhibit my work. Thank you very much, Tim. To Russell, awesome man, for putting my ugly mug on the big screen. Awesome, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the productions that we're going to do in the future. Okay, man, so I'm really looking forward to that. Russell does an awesome job. I'd also like to thank my former councillor, Margaret Walsh, who you seen there, the lady. Margaret was the General Secretary of the SDLP, which is a political party in Northern Ireland, a peaceful party. I'd like to thank her for such kind words. I owe that lady a lot, a whole lot, and to be honest with you, in my opinion, she should be given the key to the city of Belfast. She's awesome. She's helped so many people for years. She's got a heart of gold. Also, I'd like to thank my friend and famous Irish author, Sam Muller, who you also see on the screen there. He mentioned me in one of his books called Bloodstorm, so what a compliment, I have to say. That's awesome for me. He's had a series of books. And all you book lovers out there, I would recommend it. The guy is awesome. And the biggest thing has been announced, as far as I heard last week. He's just signed a deal with Mel Gibson to turn his memoirs into a movie. So I'm on the brinks of brilliant stories about Northern Ireland and what he did when he came to the States. But it's so funny, some of it. It's an amazing book. So guys, check him out. He's awesome. Let's see. Brian Jeffcock over here. Brian designed my website. And any guys, if you need anything, this is the man to go to. He is awesome. He knows the ins and outs of the computer that I have a clue. So he set me up nicely. I'm on Shopify. You can buy the t-shirt if you want. They're good quality. So thanks very much, Brian, at johnkennedy.com. John Kennedy.
All forms of payment to get on there. Take your money anyway.
Thanks, Brian.
Of course.
And finally, my wife Martina, who put up with me for a lot over the last few years, and for asking me to marry her. So thanks, Martina. Well, folks, as promised, I'm back again for my second exhibition here in Canada. This is actually my first of 5 exhibitions on my bucket list. And the reason for all these will come in a minute, okay? My next show I'm going to do is going to be called Ultimate 80s. So I'm going to do all the 80s bands. And my plan there is to start here in this radio station here in Halifax, or Sackville. But I'm going to take it across Atlantic Canada. So I'm going to go to Fredericton, I'm going to go to St. John's, I'm going to go to Charlestown, Moncton, wherever it takes me in the Atlantic area. Now, once I secure the right sponsorship and maybe the odd art grant, I intend to take it across Atlantic Canada. So that's my next thing, which I'll do next. My third show will focus on Motown Greats, which I really look forward to. I'm working with Russell on that. My fourth will be local artists. So that's going to be a big one. There's a lot of talent. I'm big into music, but some of the music that's coming out of this area is awesome. And guys, you should be really, really proud of it. It's up there with the top class. It really is. Now, my fifth show and my last show. Now, back in Ireland, I held around about 20 or 18 to 20 shows. And they've attracted some wonderful people, but they also attracted the rich and famous near the end. Okay? So, this time, if things go to plan, I'm going to shamefully publicise the next 4 exhibitions and try and attract the rich and famous of Canada. And I'm going to do it. And try and gently persuade them to take part in my 5th exhibition. Anybody I meet from now until, say, 5 years from now, any famous person who comes to play here, I'm going to use my contacts to get in, I'll draw them, get them to sign it. And with that show, I might have done it sooner than I think. I'm going to take that one across Canada. And every penny from that show is going toward the homeless. So that's the key for the next 5 shows. I'm aiming at the 5th show, and taking it from there. Okay? That's it, guys. I really thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Stay safe. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy the show, and tell your friends, please, to come in. COVID's done a lot of damage over the last year. It's good to see a decent enough crowd here, so thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you. Awesome.
Another introduction, folks. It just came in, Mr. Ali Duwali, the MLA for Halifax Arndale. Thank you for your enjoy.
Hold on.